Today I will be making a Spring Equinox rune charm. With the equinox just around the corner, I will be working with the rune Dagaz, also known as Dag or Dagaz. Dagaz is the rune of balance and illumination. It is the perfect rune to work with at the equinoxes, as in it we can see the balance of light and dark, day and night, the unity of opposites, revealing that two seemingly polarized parts create the whole. The unity of opposites is evident in its symmetrical butterfly-like shape, and as opposites are unified, balance is achieved. Dagaz also bears similarity to an hourglass, and so there is also a representation of time, and like the infinity symbol, an everlasting cycle. It simultaneously represents the end of an era and the beginning of another, the integration and transcendence of darkness, the shadow purified by light. With this, we can see that Dagaz has two core meanings. It is the rune of balance, but also the rune of transformation. Meditation on Dagaz can bring forth clarity and insight into the challenges we are facing. As the light in the darkness, sun of the night, it unifies, connects us, and brings through those breakthrough aha moments. It also aids in developing compassion for oneself and others by addressing one's own suffering and truly understanding its source. Dagaz is a very powerful, transformative rune indeed. Having finished my meditation, I went to collect some materials from my little garden house. For the creation of my craft, I would be using straight sticks, feathers, alder cones, some glue, some jute string, and a pair of pliers. Having cleansed all the items, I began crafting my Dagaz hanging charm. I chose sticks of similar thickness, cutting two longer and two shorter of the same length. The longer sticks I measured out to 6 inches. The shorter sticks to 3 inches. This was my own personal preference. Larger and smaller ones are also great too. Next, I arranged the pieces in the shape of the Dagaz rune. I then cut the ends diagonally so the pieces would fit better before gluing them together. I cut the shorter sticks angled towards each other. And the longer sticks angled parallel to each other. then glued the pieces together. The glue took too long to dry on the first piece, and so I pulled out the crafty glue gun. Holding it, I took a moment to focus on its innate, unified, transmutative energy. Spring is generally associated with the element of air, so next I was to attach some feathers to the charm. I especially liked this one as it's half dark and half light, perfect to represent the equinox. I used some twine to tie a knot in the center, flipping it over to knot it again on the other side, creating an equilateral cross to represent the cross quarters on the wheel of the year. I glued the small yin-yang coloured feather to one of the center strings, and a larger feather on the other one further down, one that I felt was one of the prettiest of my feather collection. I like how from the bottom up, the feather is coloured black, white, and then grey. To me, it represents the light over darkness, and the two unified and transformed with the grey. I also used two smaller feathers of a similar size on either side to represent balance. I then added some alder cones. The alder is the Celtic ogham tree for Ostara. It is a tree of balance and is associated with both the elements, fire and water. Now, astrologically speaking, the spring equinox occurs when the sun leaves Pisces, the sign whose element is water, and enters Aries, whose element is fire. I created a loop to hang the charm, then glued the knots on the Dagaz to the corners to keep them in place before finally painting them over with dark brown acrylic paint. With the construction of the charm complete, I took another moment to focus on the energies of spring, balance, and transformation. I then hung it up, knowing it would aid in balancing and synchronizing opposite forces, in turn aiding in the process of learning and understanding, bringing more growth and new ideas for the spring season.
The moon, she dances like the waves on the shore, making circles like the waves on the shore.